Well, YouTube, welcome back. This is going to be a little bit different than the last couple of videos I put out. I've got two different topics I want to discuss. The first topic is going to be, oh, you guessed it, we're back on Coffee Lake. Well, the release, that was absolutely stupid. Coffee Lake is not going to be the 8th generation of processors. Apparently, it's going to be part of the 8th generation of processors. Yeah, that don't work. They're basically relabeling a bunch of Kaby Lake processors as being part of the 8th generation too. So if you're hoping to get a brand new laptop with a Coffee Lake CPU, you're shit out of luck. Alright, as I said before, this is more of a business related channel, and I want to keep it that way, and I'm seeing a lot of fanboyism in the comments section, and the truth is, I really don't care for Intel. I don't care for them because of their business practices. Now, that being said, they are the standard of industry. So, Intel is something I'm going to have to look at a lot because you cannot get a computer for business from a major manufacturer that says AMD behind it. Now, yes, I personally do use AMD products at home. Do I use them in business? Not so much. But back to Coffee Lake. Coffee Lake was what Intel needed to put out if they would have put out Coffee Lake across all markets. I'm talking they needed Coffee Lake laptops, Coffee Lake desktops, Coffee Lake all-in-ones, the whole market. Why? Business needs them. As I've said before, the crappy i5s that we currently have, that is what business buys up. They don't buy i7s. They buy i5s. Some of them buy i3s, which is a waste of money. Intel just made it a little weirder because now Kaby Lake i7s are now going to be 8th generation i3s. You heard that right. They're just basically taking Kaby Lake and refreshing it, turning it into i3s. They're also refreshing Kaby Lake laptop CPUs and calling them the i7s now. At least the i7 laptop CPUs will no longer include dual cores, from what I can see. But what does that mean? That means that the whole landscape for business just went down the toilet. Intel single-handedly has trashed the business market when looking for and upgrading hardware. I know a lot of you out there are saying, well, why not just get an AMD? Why not just get Ryzen for your business? Well, here's the problem. Businesses buy computers based on warranty, based on how well they think it's going to work and how well that brand represents itself. That means your three major sellers to business are Lenovo, HP, and Dell. Dell actually being one of the highest sellers to business. You cannot walk into a state agency, a government office, or pretty much anywhere and not find Dell somewhere in that office. They're going to be there. Getting back to the core of this. Intel took something that I thought was going to be really good for the market, which when they finally release the 6-core CPUs, it will be, and it will help, but they just made it more confusing. They just made it entirely more difficult for people who do not know what they're doing, which most business people do not, especially when they're buying equipment. They go based off of what their salesman tells them to get. The reason why I advocate for more cores in a business flow or workflow is on average, when you look at standard use of a computer, you have one thread that's ate up by your operating system. And if you are running multiple programs, even if they're all single-threaded programs, if you are running multiple programs, you can pretty much guarantee that for each program, you're consuming part, if not a whole thread. Okay, all of a sudden, let me throw that into context. Let's say you have a web browser open, because your job requires a web browser. Okay, just having the web browser open and the operating system running in the background, for the most part, you're consuming about 50 to 75% of two threads. And hyperthreading, that extra thread, is not as fast as the core thread. It just never works out that way. It doesn't work out that way with AMDs either. Take a couple of looks at how CPUs score with hyperthreading turned on, with it turned off, or AMD's SMT turned on or SMT turned off. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. You need to realize all these programs, even if they are single-threaded, each one is going to utilize a core or a thread. And it's going to utilize it, depending on how difficult the program is, between 50-ish maybe and 100%. So we've discussed one web browser and an operating system, and we pretty much have gotten a dual core pretty far up there in its ability to do work. Okay, now throw on a proprietary program like QuickBooks. Say you're in accounting, and now you have QuickBooks on top of your operating system and a web browser. You are out of the range for a dual core to actually work effectively. You are barely in the range of a dual core with hyperthreading to work. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's throw on another piece of software. Say I need Excel open at the same time because obviously I'm doing accounting. I've got QuickBooks open, I've got Excel open, and I've got a web browser open. I'm running an operating system. You have tanked a dual core. Even with hyperthreading, you have tanked it. There is a noticeable slowdown in your ability to do work at this time thanks to the power of the CPU. Okay, so just doing these things, you need to be bumped up to a quad core. Well, I didn't tell you how many tabs were open in that web browser. Maybe 6 tabs open. Say you need to run, Microsoft Word along with running Excel. Okay, anything where you're going to be running, say 6 or 7, maybe 8 different things at the same time. 8 different programs at the same time, plus your operating system. Now you're starting to see where those extra cores actually happen, where they do help. And it doesn't matter how badly optimized something is for multi-threaded use. And now granted, if something is optimized for multi-threaded use, you can go ahead and tank a couple of threads on that one program. This is why the market has to move forward. This is why it's such a big deal. And Intel's business decision, whoever made the decision to screw this lineup up this bad, this should cost them their job. Intel has just caused a situation where, we're not going to see it probably until the spring or maybe summer of next year, but they have actually just caused an issue in the market when it comes to business that all these manufacturers are going to be receiving hate mail over them selling to customers computers that are not even close to where the businesses thought that the computers would be. I mean, this is really going to have an effect on the market. And it was a bad decision by Intel that put it there. Now, you can see in the background, I'm kind of showing you Dell's website, and I'm kind of showing you HP's website and kind of going through them. I just wanted y'all to be able to see that how many of those computers say i5, how many of them say i7, how many of them say AMD. This is why AMD does not matter in the business market at this time. Until these manufacturers start selling AMD in business computers designed for business use, AMD doesn't have a foothold in the business market. And they will not have a foothold in the business market. But I just wanted y'all to kind of understand where I'm coming from and why this is such a big deal. And how upset I am and many businesses are going to be over the Coffee Lake debacle, basically, where they pretty much were touting up that, yeah, we're going to have 6 cores, and 6 cores plus hyperthreading. Those are going to be our i5s, i7s. Oh, wait, yeah. We're just going to screw everything else up. The i5s and the i7s on desktops, sometime in the future, will be Coffee Lake. But everything else in the 8000 series, or the 8th generation, you can just sweep it under the rug. None of it matters. None of it's an upgrade over what's currently out there right now. And just kind of deal with it. That's what Intel just said to business. All right, this episode, like I said, is bad business mistakes. And I've got one to pick with AMD too. AMD is really starting to upset a lot of people in the business market over Vega. Now, the pricing issues, AMD should have come clear from the beginning that they were offering retailers this cash back for selling their products at the SEP. I mean, they should have been Straightforward with that. Now, that was just to help. That's all it was. It was just designed to help. It was never meant to be a ongoing thing. And I can understand that. I can also understand why people are upset. Vega pretty much sold out everywhere. Well, when you have a new release like this, that's something that you have to understand is the demand is going to be higher than the manufacturer can bear. And that's going to cause pricing to go up. It has with every generation of GPU, I think for the last 3 or 4 years. There's been such a high demand at release that the price just goes up, and then after a while it settles down. AMD should have been more upfront with this, and I am upset with them over it. I am upset with them over the fact that they're not sure when they're going to be able to get enough stock to meet their own SEP. I'm also upset about the fact that there are 3 noted different Vega GPUs out there. And by that, I mean the actual package. There's 3 different ones out there. 2 of them are junk. For some reason, they could not line the HBM up with the top of the GPU correctly. And that's going to cause major problems. And it's going to make AMD look really bad. That was a bad business decision. The other bad business decision that AMD has done lately is, where in the hell is the support for Vega? Vega FE has been out for a while now. Still has not seen an actual driver release update. There is a beta, but beta stands for bullshit in the business world. No one in business runs beta drivers. There is no excuse for how long it is taking to get a new driver out for Vega FE. There should have been a driver on the day of launch for RX Vega for Vega FE to help it out with the newest and the greatest things that they were able to put in the RX Vega drivers. But nothing happened. I don't know what's going on in the tech industry right now or who in the world is making these decisions. Pretty much every company in the last 2 months has really put their heads up their asses. And it's going to have a major effect on business. It's already having a major effect on consumers. I mean, look at how many people are screaming and crying and pulling fanboyism on the internet right now about AMD this or Intel that or whatever. You know, you're not helping yourself. If anybody from AMD or Intel sees this video or hears this, you're not helping yourselves. You are causing issues by not being upfront, realistic, and straightforward. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I know I've been talking for a while. But if you like what I do here, if you like someone covering the actual business aspects of the computer market, hey, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like what I do here, I'm sorry, I'm not a gamer. I didn't go to college to be a gamer. And really, that market is oversaturated with reviewers and people anyway. So there's plenty of people for you to go watch if you're not interested in how this affects the actual 98% of the world, not the 2% that are gamers, or at least hardcore gamer enough where this matters. All right, well, have a good one.